bad. Airport time. 5 minutes late. Sorry about that. We'll call it a security delay. We had to make sure everything was in order before we leave. So my name is Russ. You're going to be tired of my voice for the next couple hours. We've got Jason here who's going to be the better guy to listen to, and he talks a little bit about what he does. He doesn't just drive the bus. He's really responsible for making this airport work properly. And then we've got Samantha here who's keeping an eye on all of us, making sure we're not breaking any rules, okay? So you've got the vests on, that makes you able to get onto the airfield. If we step off the bus, which of course we'll be doing, you'll have to follow the rules to make sure you don't get injured, so that I don't have to fill in any paperwork. I don't like paperwork, except for that paperwork. And so, as I mentioned a moment ago, we have a security check that we will go through. It's not right away, but it'll be shortly, and it'll be the whole scarecrow thing. Standing there, lifting up your legs, so they check under your shoes. I have no idea why they check under your shoes. And then they will swab your hands, and that's in case you've been playing with explosives. So, you know, we had trouble right after July 1st because everybody plays with fireworks the night before. So, anyways. So this first check here, it should be very quick. It depends who's on duty. There are 900 security guards here working at the airport, so they all have their basic rules to follow, but some do it in a different manner than others. Now, I'm part of a team, along with Jason, of 1,500 people who work in that building, and this building over here on our right, and over in the terminals, and we're the airport authority. So our building that you started out in is our headquarters building. It used to be the headquarters for a company called Ward Air many years ago. And the airfield maintenance facility here on our right, we're going to talk about in just a minute. We also have a bunch of other buildings on site. There's about 100 and we're going to do that. It's nice and cool on the bus, but we will get off the bus a couple of times. So just a show of hands, I recognize faces. How many of you have been on a tour before? How many this year? Oh, you came already this year?
Oh, no, sorry.
This year? Okay. Okay, cool. Because of the number of tours that we offer, we do have trouble trying to accommodate everybody. So we ask if you've been on one this year not to come again. Not that we don't like to see you, but. So here we are, we're on the field. On your left-hand side is the airfield. Behind us is one of those 3 fire stations I mentioned. They're pretty busy, so we're not going to go visit the fire station tonight. They responded 5,200 times last year. Now those 3 halls are responsible for all sorts of calls in the terminals, out on the airfield. I don't want you to be scared to fly. I don't mean that there's always something going wrong. But if a pilot gets a red light, he's going to call, basically. I got a problem, I don't know what's going on with it, I want the truck standing by. And then there's tons of medicals. We get about 150,000 people a day in August this year that will be passing through the terminal as passengers. Last year we were 120,000. So we've seen a lot of growth, and that really does drain our resources in terms of the fire response and medical. Most of the calls are medicals. Now, straight ahead of us in a few minutes we're going to drive over here, and this is our airfield maintenance facility, and the reason I brought that up is because Jason's going to talk a little bit about how we keep this place going on a nice cold winter's day when it's blustery and snowy and icy. Right now it's beautiful out there. But we could have problems out there now. If it's this hot, we could get pavement issues. We can get, what do you call that stuff that comes out between the black crack seal? So he could end up getting called to go out to do that. The buses are really a sideline for them, and the tours are the least important. If there is a bus issue, it's usually because an aircraft either is disabled on the runway and needs to be need the passengers to get off there, or it could be that we've got too many airplanes arriving at the same time. So we schedule them, but of course nothing exactly perfect. And so if there's 155 airplanes and we only have 154 gates, then somebody has to sit. Turkish Airlines just landed on runway 06 left. Boeing 777 there, and this sun it won't look very good, but we'll get up close to that in a little bit. And so the 2 runways that you're seeing right next to us here, the closest is called 06 right. If you look on your map, you'll get an idea where we are. It's 060 degrees on the compass heading this direction. Because there are 2 of them that are parallel, it's the right side and the left side. The runways running north and south, they're the 2 runways that we have as opposed to the 3. And those are called 33s in that direction. So the closest one, just this side of the hangar and the tower over there, is called 33 right. And on behind it, you can't see the runway obviously, and we're not using it right now. is 33 left. Or the opposite end of it, 15. So 15 left, 15 right. So our runway is named, essentially this closest runway to us that we're not using right now is called 06 right, 24 left. That's the name. Okay, this is the southern parallels, these two, and then we have a northern parallel. The plane just landed on that, so I would have pointed it out, but it got behind the hangar. Our best operation are these 3 runways. Theoretically, we can do about 120 movements an hour. Now, we don't plan for that because that's sort of pushing the limit. So we normally schedule for about 90 movements an hour. But if we have bad weather, or any sort of winds or anything that are causing planes to have to land to the north or to the south, then we use the 2 parallels, and all of a sudden we're down to 64 movements an hour. So then we have to start circling over Peterborough and London and Kitchener and over the lake and stuff like that. So NAV Canada runs the operation in terms of the aircraft movements, and they're doing that from their control center, which is to the left of that hangar. You can't see that, also it's a little low-level building. It's one of those radar rooms with big screens, and they don't look out the windows, they're just looking at the dots on the screen. And somebody in there is planning the traffic. They're looking at what planes are heading towards Toronto right now, and then saying, well, we're going to have a bunch at 8, 10 this evening, we're going to get a whole bunch in our area, and we can't handle the capacity because we're down to the 2 runways instead of the 3, and so they'll put stops on in Montreal and Ottawa and start holding aircraft on the ground there, so that way they can make space for it, okay? Now, all that gets much more complicated when Jason's out there on the runway with his snowplow. So what we're going to do is go think of the snow right now. He'll take us over and show us that piece, because I know that's what's on your mind. Nobody's thinking cottage and summer and enjoying the weather. You're all wondering when that wonderful snowstorm's going to come and ruin your trip to Florida or something, right? So how many of you have flown out of here? All right, and how many of you fly regularly somewhere, whether it's here or other airports? You fly regularly for business or something? Or just because you like to spend money? Pleasure, nice.
No, my wife likes to spend money.
Ah, okay. And you escape by getting on a plane and going somewhere. Got it. I think you'll see the biggest airplane over there with the funny colors on the tail.
Big whale.
So that's the Airbus A380. It's the largest passenger airliner around, and on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday we get it here in Pearson. It's sitting away from the terminal building purely because once it's arrived, offloaded the passengers and the baggage, we don't want it on the terminal building, because we can use those gates for other planes that are landing. So we make the airline tow it away, they go over, park it somewhere where we can keep it out of the way, they'll clean it all up, put the fuel on, catering, things like that, and then they'll tow it back in a couple of hours. But in the 6 or 7 hours that aircraft is here on the ground, there are 100 employees involved. Of course, Emirates likes that because that's filling up their airplane with, it's getting ready for a good flight, and they've got 520-something passengers, 509, I think, something like that. They change configurations a little bit, but there's 34 crew on board, and they're all paying a fortune to fly on this plane. $10,000 in first class, one way to Dubai, pretty cool. I'd love to do that. Yeah, that's not going to happen. But they get to use the shower. So if you're on your honeymoon, the shower says maximum capacity 2. Just say it, okay? All right, let's get off the bus here. You can leave your stuff here, it's okay. Yeah. It's nice and cool in here.
Oh yeah.
It's the last chance for coolness you have.
So this is the airfield maintenance facility, Shore AMF. This is where I work out of. I'm one of, I guess, 100 people that work year-round. And we have about another 100 seasonal staff that come and help from October to April for the winter months. What you're looking at here is the VOMIS. These are, we have about, I don't know how many pieces, probably just over 12 pieces of equipment. They're $1.3 million each. So these things are what clear the runway, and it takes us about 17 minutes to clear a runway. Which is pretty good, so that way planes can come in and land and we're not taking up too much time. How they work is, well, we don't have plows hooked up, they're all outside, but we have their 30-foot plows, and then we swing out our brooms, and the brooms are about 22 feet, and at the very end there's the black, those things come down, they're blowers, and it clears the residue. So there will be a lead who would sweep the tower, and the tower will tell him the time when to come out to the runway. So if tower says 1600, we he had 24 left axis road, then that means him and his team have to go out there and he's going to call up at that time and he'll say, file 157 plus 12, here to clear the runway. And then he'll give permission to go onto the runway. And what he'll do is if the wind's blowing to the east, he'll push the snow to the east. So he'll start on the far west side of the runway and he'll put his plow down and broom down and he'll sweep to the left.
To a person, male or female air traffic controller, in the big tower way off in the distance behind us. That's called the control tower. That's Canada's facility. The person that this pilot is talking to is called the ones that attached to the front of his truck. These ones are the ones on the back fence man. Gives you an idea. If you use those on your driveway at home, you probably won't have a driveway left, okay? But it would clear it really fast. Alright, so the control tower off in the far distance there, now Canada's facility with the tower controller says clear takeoff, clear land. But to get to the runway, the pilot has to move through the taxiway system. And so then we're talking to someone else called ground control. And that person is essentially just moving the vehicles and aircraft around on the airfield except for on the runway. And one other exception. When they get close to the terminal building where all the aircraft are parked, they're now on the apron. So when they're moving on or off of the apron, they are then talking to the tower on top of the terminal building here, which is called the apron control tower. So that's 3 different controllers that they would talk to. So the one that's touching down, I mentioned that room with the radar screen, the Nav Canada facility. Well, that plane that just took off is no longer talking to the tower. He's now talking to someone called departure control. Departure is going to climb that aircraft up to 7,000 or 10,000 feet and then hand it off to another person in that room who's going to get the plane on its way to Montreal or wherever it's going. And so that'll be another air traffic control that's called the en route control. So it's constantly changing. They all have their air security check, okay? So we're keeping our fingers crossed that it's not very busy right now because all employees have to present at this booth to go and work on the apron. And sometimes they line up vehicle after vehicle and it's a random check for employees. So we don't bring bad stuff to work because we might get caught. But in your case, we don't know you. So you're all getting checked anyways. That's the rule. So we'll just be hopefully very quick here, but we'll see how it goes. I'll get you off of the stages when we go around the corner. Jason has a surprise for us here. We're going to make another stop momentarily, but now that we're through the fence here, through the what's called the critical area, that's where we enter through the roof. If you'll see on your left, Lufthansa's got an Airbus 330 taxiing in, and at the end of the runway, Lufthansa's Boeing 747 is just taking off. So in a moment, you'll get that flying right over our heads, right here, okay? But we also have another visitor we're going to go see here. One of our wildlife officers. So he's going to talk all about how he uses the dogs and the birds to control birds from getting into the engines of that Lufthansa Boeing 747. In a few minutes, then we'll go closer to the airport. Photos also, by the way, while we're here on the apron, you can take lots of photos and anything. If we go anywhere else, I'll tell you when you can't take photos. That's a friggin'
Look, you get that on this sponsorship. We worry about kind of bird. You look the guys on the road.
Apron. Dang it. Well, females
So
are usually
close.
larger than males, aren't they?
That is a female, but you take a look, there's no blue
Okay.
throughout the wing.
Here's where you know better than I do.
Oh boy. So I know one person already knows what this is. Who knows what type of bird this is?
A falcon?
Yes, it's a type of a falcon. This is called an American kestrel. This is a new bird that I just acquired a week ago. So right now she's in training. So I'm basically just getting accustomed to the airfield and everything else. So basically what we do here on the airfield is use birds of prey to disperse other birds that are actually on the airfield. So it's doing a good means of bird control since we're using a natural bird of prey. We also use dogs. As you can see, I have a chocolate lab that I also use for chasing and retrieving as well. So we also have, other means to do wildlife control on the airport property. We have 8,400 hectares of land, so it's a lot of land to take care of. So that's why we have basically about 32 birds in our disposal, plus 2 working dogs as well. So.
Is that fully grown yet, or?
Pardon me?
Is it fully?
It is fully grown, yes.
Fully grown, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a baby.
That's as big as
We have a
American
Quaker
kestrels
parrot,
get.
and we're comparing it because he does exactly that, like that. We trained it too.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
Anybody got any questions?
You guys still have Ivan, right?
Ivan the Terrible, we still have.
The
yes.
Terrible?
Yes, we still have that guy. I flew him early this afternoon. He actually did really good. So.
Awesome.
Yeah. So.
Usually goes by the creek, right?
Yeah, he's always down by the creek there. We have that one creek that runs through the airport, and basically he goes down, patrols that whole area, and then he comes back to us. So.
Nice. It's awesome.
Where's the bird coming from?
It's from Montreal. It's from our other facility out in Montreal.
Bred previously?
Yeah, it is bred in captivity. You can't take a American kestrel from the wild. The only 4 birds in Ontario that you're able to catch is basically a red-tailed hawk, Cooper's hawk. You've seen the 747, the Dreamliner went by a minute ago, and now this 777. You hear the differences in the engine.
I know Airlines.
Alright. About the $10,000 I would pay to fly in business class or first class so I could use the shower with a special someone. Except you're not supposed to do that, right? But whatever. But if I only had $6,500, I could fly in business class. And both of us would be up in the upper deck, business class and first class, and we'd use the bar at the back of the plane. But the rest of us were all downstairs, right? We're paying the $1,800 round trip to Dubai, and we're getting decent service, nice in-flight entertainment, and then you get this big airplane that'll get you there safely. Emirates is getting rid of the first class. On the newer versions of this aircraft, they're only going to have economy and business class. So they're going to have 615 passengers on board. When the aircraft was designed for all economy passengers, it was going to be 850. But when we see it here, it's just about 500, and as I said, the 34 crew. So think of the investment that the airline made. The aircraft cost $380 million. They own 90 of them, with 30 more on order. They have to train all the staff, they have to buy all the special equipment because it's such a large aircraft. They have to hire the 100 people to work for them in Toronto through a ground handler when they're here for those 3 days a week. All sorts of things they're involved with. Then they make all that money off of the revenue. But there's one more thing that they have to pay for besides the catering and all that. What is that?
Landing fee. Landing fee. Fuel.
The landing fee, yeah, $14,000 to us.
Sure.
Fuel. How much do you think they spend on fuel? $100,000. $100,000. It's $100,000 to fill it up to go to Dubai. All right, we're going to let you off the bus. but you have to promise to stay near the bus. Okay? Well, don't go into the shadow of the aircraft there. Okay? So it's not going to be great for your photos, but that's the best I can do, given that it's a servicing aircraft. So we use the shadow as the line. Okay? Company.
That's the one.
So the design stayed with the company, but they just re-engined it. So it's a little bit different than the design. It's essentially the same aircraft. It's essentially just as noisy, slightly less noisy engine than previously. But those are disappearing gradually. Delta's really the only operator of them now, except for one airline in Europe. They've gone from that huge, largest passenger airliner out there, the Airbus A380, to the very common Boeing 717, which used to be a DC-9, to the tiniest passenger airliner that flies in here on a regular basis. Which is just coming up on it right in a moment. You'll see under that. Sorry, it hasn't gone onto the gate yet. It's called the Beechcraft 1900. Seats 19 passengers. All these people are just arriving from somewhere exciting into Toronto. They've just come from, say, Rochester or Syracuse. Why would you spend $900 one way from Rochester to Syracuse? You wouldn't, right? But all they need is 2 passengers on board and they make money. But then again, the reason they exist, Air Georgian flies these for Air Canada, they get the contract. The goal is to get people from Rochester and Syracuse to fly on these planes to Toronto and connect up to around the world. So this way Air Canada carries a lot of US passengers into Toronto. We're trying to get our numbers to 40% connections. If we can get all this traffic coming through Toronto, that creates more jobs for people in Toronto and the GTA. We presently have, as I said before, about 50,000 people working at the airport. Air Canada is the largest employer with probably 11,000. One of these Boeing 777s that you saw take off, when they fly into Frankfurt every day, they fly 2 a day to Frankfurt. If they were to cancel one of those flights on a year-round basis, they'd lay off 2,000 people. Yeah, a lot of impact. Now this is a Boeing 767, this is in the Rouge colors, so they painted it all up nice and they've got new uniforms and cool hats and stuff, and essentially 270 passengers. Now when it used to carry the Air Canada colors, without the winglets on it, to give it the fuel efficiency, it would have 214 passengers. The plane hasn't grown, just they found ways to put people in the luggage racks and stuff. Alright, so we're going to do something a little different here. I'm going to need your help on it. I'm going to ask you when we get off the bus here not to bring your cameras with you. right? Because we're going to show you something inside. So that means there's a fire alarm. Notice nobody was doing anything. So I think they're testing the system. But if there's a fire alarm, you actually wouldn't hear it as a passenger. If someone pulls the pull station or if something's activated, we'll be responding. We have a team of 22 staff on duty in our operations center that are responding to those types of calls. That and a plugged toilet and then a broken something or other, anything, and an emergency of some sort, like a fuel spill or a medical, they're responding to all of those things. So then what would happen is a second station gets pulled, and we know it's a real fire, and it sets off after the home. So we never want to get into that second stage when we're responding to the call. We know that we've got about 5 minutes to get to investigate before it'll activate the second stage. All right, so now we'll go back out because I know you like airplanes. Some of you seem to like to take lots of photos of airplanes, so we're going to just keep going. Now, statistics for you. I talked about the number of passengers every day. I didn't mention about 1,400 aircraft movements a day here. And all of them are controlled either from the apron or the nav cab in the tower. The majority of those movements are on the apron, so passenger airliners. We do have, of course, FBOs, fixed rates operated jet airways taking off straight for any of that. Big Boeing 777 on its way to India, stopping in Amsterdam. So the Air Canada plane that's being towed over is not under power, it's got a tractor attached, pulled up. So our apron people have coordinated that so that it's not in the way, but it's ready to go straight on the gate. It's probably leaving in another hour and a half and they want to get served. So anyways, back to that 777 that you just saw take off. Here's one here on either side of you. Those engines are worth $25 million each. Air Canada's largest aircraft. These are them, and they seat 458 passengers. When they bought them, they had 380 seats, and again, they found space in the overhead racks. So they've gotten quite proliferous at filling their plane stuff. They're doing very well. Air Canada is a very well respected airline. The Americans love flying through here. They find it quite easy to do. So the thing with I talked about the winglets on the Boeing 767. It helps save fuel on older aircraft and older engines. The Boeing 777 is a newer aircraft, so the engines are so powerful and good that they don't need to worry about having something on the wings. They pre-designed the wings to have a special shape on it so that it makes it more efficient. That's what this whole fleet right now, we've seen a whole bunch of 777. When you see the 787, it's really this one around the corner. If we make the right turn here, there's a Dreamliner right around the corner, the Boeing 787, the baby Dreamliner. And no, it's not. It's a stretch version. I'm sorry, it's a Dash 9 version. So look at the shape of the wings. That's what I'm getting at here. You see, they're called raked wingtips, and they really look at the two different types of wings here. The Boeing 777 in Turkish colors. See the shape of that? And then also the engine is much different. This is much quieter. So the passengers love this. It's a quiet plane. The crew love this because the pressurization on board is different. So a normal aircraft, when you're flying at 40,000 feet, you're pressurized to about 8,000. Most passengers, that's not an issue. But crew members flying back and forth across the Atlantic regularly find that it dries their skin out. But with this, you're at 6,000 feet altitude. So it's a much more comfortable environment as a passenger and as a crew member. Now, as I mentioned, we're responsible for the airport. We run the airport. We provide the facility. What you see on the bridges, these hoses attached to the aircraft, they provide air conditioning. The cables provide power. We're responsible for the bridge. The airline uses it to hook up to their aircraft. They break it, they fix it. No, they break it, we fix it. They break their airplane, they fix it. So that's why we don't actually move the bridge onto position. So sometimes you'll say, you'll arrive and you say, we're just waiting for someone to come and put the bridge on. Our staff are capable, but it's the airline's responsibility. So we would only do it in an emergency. But that's basically what we built. And the airlines, so everything from the aircraft downward is up to the airline. So the ground handling staff that would provide the catering, the fueling is pumped from underground pipes on the far side of the field. So you see the trucks, here's a fuel truck here pumping into the wings. The baggage is handled by the airline through the system that we provide. And this is a lot different than the old days when we used to have, you remember I told you about Ward Air? Some of the people might remember. There was an old terminal building called Terminal 1. 1964, we opened it, it sat right here, the black spot on the apron around us. This is where Terminal 1. I'm liking these now, actually. I did at first, I was like, okay, but the little raccoon eyes on the cockpit, that really looks good. But up in the tower, we jokingly call it Delta Light. Because it sort of looks like Delta Airlines from a distance. I'm sure Canada doesn't like to hear that, but anyway. Now we've also built the terminals in a way, old terminals 1 and 3, in a way that we can move planes around, or move people around without having to move planes. So all those gates behind us are international. Everybody arriving on one of those flights has to go to customs. Now with this pier, everybody arriving here is domestic. They can walk straight out to the baggage hall or they can leave the building. Except a few gates in between that you can open and close the door, and that leads people to customs. Now if they're departing, this is all domestic. You've cleared security, you get on the plane, you fly to Vancouver or Sudbury. But behind us, those gates, we can walk through to U.S. Customs and get on a flight going to the U.S. And if we close some other doors, you're separated again, you're leaving Canada. So the Canada Customs dogs can sniff you out if you're carrying more than $10,000 in cash. You have to declare that, you know that here. I don't know, I've never carried that much. If I had that, I'd be flying first class in Emirates to Dubai. But anyway, so yeah, we have to be able to segregate the people, and so the airlines like it, and they can do what's called a swing gate, and they don't have to keep moving their airplanes around. They can say, this one's coming in from Frankfurt and going to go out to Miami, so we want to be able to make that aircraft stay where it is and simply move the passengers around. So now we're over Terminal 3. And what do we got? Air Transat. I didn't see what was around the corner. You guys probably can tell me.
China Southern.
It's not China Southern? Okay. So that's the one 777 going to Shanghai. China Southern, this is Shanghai.
Guangzhou.
Guangzhou? Sorry, okay. China Eastern.
China Eastern, yeah.
Sorry.
I think that should be it, no?
That's a couple of Airbus 330s here, and here's China Southern. I think you said that was around the corner. China Southern is going to Guangzhou.
Alitalia right beside.
Yeah. Alitalia, and next to that, Azores Airline. They're flying off. Alright, so it's a busy international street. A lot of the stuff is already left, and then some of the transats. If you look over to your left, there's a whole bunch of air transats parked there, a couple of Sunwing or a Sunwing and a WestJet. Those will all be towed over later on to depart on later flights, because the way we make money is that landing fee, all that fees that the airlines are paying for their office space, and every time they're parked on the terminal, they're loading passengers. We make money with that. But if they're sitting empty on the gate, filling up space, we can't bring more airplanes here. So now we're in the transporter section of Terminal 3. We've got that Delta 717 we saw. There's a white aircraft there. You can't see the registration yet. It's Caribbean Airlines. So that's interesting. That's actually on a U.S. gate. But all it needs is to go into customs. The flight comes in from Kingston, Jamaica, or Port of Spain, Trinidad, and they just need to offload the plane. So we park it there because we didn't have a gate available, and then they'll throw it over to this area over here, and then later tonight, it probably goes out to midnight sometime back down to Port of Spain. What we're going to do is return left here, and you get past WestJet's largest aircraft, the Boeing 767. They have 4 of them, and they use these for their flights only to Gatwick. That's all they do with them. I flew on them actually last year. I paid a little bit extra to fly in the front section. It's like one of the best flights I've ever been on.
Was it nice, eh?
It was really comfortable. Yeah, they got a nice steak dinner, nice wine. Yeah, it's not a big sleeper seat like the others. Then again, I didn't have to pay a lot of money for it. So. Now, as Jason's driving around, he's sitting waiting for traffic, but he's following the white lines. This is what you're doing on the apron if you're driving. This doesn't drive perfect. I have the same thing. It allows me to drive anywhere on the apron, EA here, and so I have to stay within the white line. He actually has an enhanced version of that called the D. He can drive anywhere on the airfield. But to do that, if he goes outside of these white lines, he really has to be calling up to the apron control here, or as soon as he goes out to the ground or the tower, to the runways, he has to call the tower. So he's got an enhanced version of that he can go anywhere. So we've got a real mix of aircraft in tonight. As I said, it's probably going to sit there and depart at 9 o'clock to London. Air Transit's got one of the newer Boeing 737s. See the shape of the wings there, the winglets. It's called split scimitar winglets. They're quite interesting shape. Don't really know why they're better than other ones, but some of the airlines really love these things. WestJet's got them on there. They do have the older version of the winglets. When WestJet bought these Boeing 737-700s, they actually came with those winglets on, whereas a lot of the other aircraft had them attached afterwards. They're something like $70,000 a pair. So that's pretty worthwhile. Azores International, or Azores Airlines are going back to either Lisbon or one of the islands in the Azores. Personally, I think that's the best color scheme I've ever seen. But that's just, I don't like the idea of these giant whales or whatever on the side of my airplane. If I like a whale, I can look at Emirates from the front. That's what it looks like. Now, Allen's got their new color scheme on this Airbus here. And then China Southern, also not my favorite color scheme. All the pilots have to be able to speak English when they're taxiing around the airfields in Canada. That's a requirement. So they have, the China Southern would have to test their pilots to make sure they meet the international standards.
Chinese are the best color, come on. Chinese are the best color.
Yes, okay. China Eastern is an all-white airplane with a red and blue bird on
I
it.
can take a picture.
Very boring.
The finger doesn't go to the shot.
This is less boring, but no, it doesn't work. Get me KLM anytime. That's my favorite looking airplane. Alright. Now Air Transat, 345 passengers on these Airbus 330s. Pretty tight, but they do a good job getting people across the Atlantic. They are, I believe it's the 5th largest transatlantic carrier in terms of number of passengers they carry on the summer. So they're actually the largest independent airline. All the others, the largest independent airline in across the Atlantic. So all the others are related to Star Alliance, One World, or SkyTeam. So the airlines that belong in partnerships, joint ventures, whereas Air Transit's on its own. It's a pretty good operation. Now they hire their ground handler. WestJet hires a ground handler. They don't have their own staff servicing the aircraft. Air Canada, on the other hand, is all their own employees. Now straight ahead of us, you've got a great view of a pushback. All right. So what's happening here? This Boeing 767. As I said, the Rouge colors, it's 270 passengers. It's 214. The people on the front are really enjoying the very nice seats there. This is on its way, probably Vancouver. See, there's a second push also happening. There are 2 taxi lanes here with the yellow line. The pilots follow the taxi lane. The apron tower behind us, or to our right, has cleared both of these aircraft to push. One on taxi lane 5, one on lane 6.
Halifax.
5 and 6?
Halifax.
Oh, you've got it on my radar app? Okay. That's, you know more than I do. Sorry. So, anyways, these 2 aircraft have been given their permission to push to a certain point. If you look at the front of the aircraft, there's a gentleman standing in front of each aircraft. They're basically signaling to the pilot not to move. Now the reason the pilot would want to move is because he wants to get going, but he doesn't know if he's clear. You can't see that there's somebody still below working. He's sort of got a pretty good idea, but it's a safety device, right? You basically, until this guy tells you to go, you don't go. Now, when he gives you the signal, the pilot will actually bring you up back up to the apron and say, Air Canada 626 is ready to taxi. And they'll say, okay, give way to the little Embraer to your left, it's ahead of you, or whatever order they're coming in. And then they'll probably just have their exit point out here by the grass and contact the nav and their ground control. But in the 5 or 6 minutes that they're dealing with this pushback, Nav Canada doesn't want the aircraft, because their job is just to keep everything moving. Here, they're sort of coordinating, getting everything ready to move. Now, there's one more thing I forgot to tell you about that Boeing 777. Remember the Turkish Airlines, the big engine, $25 million engine? The diameter of that engine is exactly the same as this Embraer aircraft over here, the little one next to the big one right here. I'm not talking the engine, I'm talking the diameter of the body of the aircraft. So that Embraer is 2 seats, an aisle, and 2 seats, just like this bus. And that will fit right inside the tube of that engine. Now I gotta admit, I get mixed up. If I see this Boeing 767, it's an older aircraft. It's a very similar design to the 777. If I see this off in the distance, I'm not sure which one I see. Behind you, you've got the brand new colors on the Air Canada Dreamliner. This aircraft here in particular is less than like a month old. They've had 2 deliveries in the last month. This is one of the newer ones. The Dreamliner stands out also because of the really bright LED beacons. Now we can't go anywhere while this aircraft is moving. We don't want to get in the way of it. We don't want to surprise anybody. What we could do is... Alright, we're going to do one more thing right here. The older engine, you can hear the noise of it moving. There's the Dreamliner behind us as well, taxiing out. There's the little rear taxiing out. So WestJet is ready to come in, but he can't come in because Apron's got 3 aircraft coming out. And then this WestJet and the Q400, the Dash 8, Bombardier Dash 8 Q400 behind it, they're all lined up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 aircraft all waiting to exit, and then WestJet will be allowed in. Now in the meantime, some of you like taking photos, so if you promise to step right next to the bus, we can let you off here to take photos of the exit airport step by step. This aircraft is unique. Iceland Air does a really good job. They've got a lot of it. They have a unique operation. But WOW Air, some of you talked about WOW, did you see WOW earlier, the purple airplane? The WOW Air basically, this is a government-run airline, but they're run privately. They're run by owned by the government, but they're run privately. And WOW Air is a private company from Iceland, so they basically are duplicating the operation. They bring people all through Iceland to connect up all over Europe. So they have 2 flights a day. Very old style airplane, but it works really well. They've added the winglets. I think it's one of the most beautiful looking planes with the yellow. And then WOW Air comes with a brand new airplane, but really tight seating. And they've got the same. Alright, and then you've got Air Canada flying a Rouge flight. So 4 flights a day to Iceland. Don't worry guys, hold on, you'll get some shots in a sec. Alright, so we were sort of stalling for time here and now you know why. Okay, let's the second flight of the day. My favorite airplane and my favorite color scheme. They've got it here just for you. We will not get off the bus this time because this is a live apron and they're busy marshalling the aircraft in. So for those who don't know the industry, you see people on both sides of the aircraft here. They're called wing walkers. They're to stop vehicles from getting in the way. And so they've got their arms out, signaling that. If you look to the front here, you'll see somebody who's going to marshal the aircraft in, wanding the pilot in, and then he'll point to the electronic system and say, go ahead and look up here. So these are disappearing, these planes. It's a shame. This is my favorite aircraft. You saw the Lufthansa one. You only get Lufthansa KLM in here usually. And then a few cargo companies come in and going to as well. Around here are working for the ground handler that KLM has hired. They have 2 flights a day in Toronto, but it's still not worth their hiring their own staff, except for the check-in staff, the agents who will be boarding the flight and all that. And all the other services are contracted out. The first thing you're going to see then is someone, once the aircraft is stopped, someone's going to run and put chocks behind the wheels. CHOCKS. That's going to stop the aircraft from rolling. Someone on the other side of the aircraft is attaching the bridge. In a few minutes, you're going to start seeing vehicles come into position to start doing the luggage and the catering and the lab truck, the work job in the world. They're going to see the laboratory stuff. If you do a good job of it, you don't get dirty. But all of these staff are working for the ground handler, and they may be doing KLM now, and then they'll go and do some other airline in a couple of hours' time. And we can't let you off the bus, so all you can do is, we can open the doors maybe, but don't step off the bus, okay? Open the door? Yeah. So in a couple of hours' time, this will turn around and go back up the rest. Now, the mechanics will also come out. KLM may have their own maintenance people, or they hire someone. I know Emirates KLM for maintenance, so they probably have their own people here as well. They'll come and do a check of the aircraft, and then just before they leave, the pilot for the next flight will also do a walk around in the aircraft. Check. And if you look to your left, this ambulance is responding to something. Now it's going to be escorted out by one of our vehicles because the ambulance drivers don't know their way around the airfield, so they have to be taken out. So we have to have staff responding to escort vehicles all over. And if you look to the left also, you see the train coming into the station from downtown Toronto. We have express train. Alright, do you all have some photos? Everybody has a chance to take their photos? No. We're going to have to shut the door now, guys. Did you learn a lot? Yeah. Something you didn't know? That's good. Okay, now. So the question up front is, why does Emirates only come in 3 times a week? So I'll talk a little bit of politics for you here. You gotta understand this story. So our job as an airport authority is to make money to build the better airport, right? We talked about that, the economy and all that. So we're going to take back to all of our other tenants. I mean, if we got 4 flights a day to Iceland, you know, I'm sure Air Canada would say, no, don't let Iceland Air come in here, we'll fly all those flights. Well, that's not the way our job operates. Now, in the meantime, the Canadian government also gets involved in something called a bilateral agreement with each country. So what happens is, the Canadian government meets with, in this case, it's the Emirati government, and says, okay, we'd like to open up the skies between the 2 countries, how are we going to work this out? And they end up negotiating 6 flights per week for each country. So theoretically, Air Canada could go 6 times a week to Dubai. When they first started the operation here, Emirates, Air Canada said there's not enough traffic between Toronto and the Emirates. what Emirates wants to do is fill their plane up with people going to India and Pakistan and Bangladesh and Africa. So Air Canada says, you know, we can do all that through Frankfurt. We send all of our people to Frankfurt on our flights, and then Lufthansa carries them to all those other places. But Emirates is really good at marketing. And the agreement was 6 flights a week of their country, 6 for ours. Air Canada says no, and Emirates government says, okay, we'll take that. And then they said to Emirates Airline, well, you can have 6. And they said, no, we operate twice a day everywhere we go or we don't go. And they said to their other airline, their national airline called Etihad, they said, you can have 6 problem. And Emirates goes, hold on. We'll take 3 then. How about that? 3 each. So they didn't want to lose out. So they got their opportunity. The agreement in this case is 6 per week with no size limit, so they could bring the A380. Some agreements could be that you're only allowed X number of passengers per week. Or it could be 1 flight per week as big as you want, or a small, whatever. Each agreement with each country is different. So essentially, the Emirates government and the Canadian government agreed to that. And Emirates Airline doesn't like that. I think there's a big push on a few years ago politically to try to work through the embassy to change things. And at one point they were saying, well, then we'll just pull out of Toronto, and Air Canada's going, fine, right? And then Emirates is going, oh, hold on, maybe not. So, I mean, I wasn't part of the negotiations, but that's essentially how it seems to us. You know, they threatened all sorts of things, and at one point the Emirati government put a visa issue on the Canadians. If you're traveling to Dubai, you had to have a visa. And you could get it for free if you flew on Emirates. But if not, you had to pay for the visa. Right. But, you know, that's a little bit of politicking. And now it seems Air Canada's realized actually there is traffic to Dubai because the Emirates have done a really good job promoting their country. But it's actually through Emirates Airline. Emirates Airline gets Jennifer Aniston standing in a bathrobe and everybody wants to go to Dubai. Right? And in the end, as I said, that's only those people who paid the $10,000 each to get to sit with Jennifer. You don't get to shower with her either. So, but, you know, it's all part of the game, right? It's marketing. So Emirates does a really good job of marketing itself. And it wouldn't surprise me if we see Etihad try to bring in the A380 3 times a week as well, because that'll max out their capacity. But Emirates does a better job. What are we seeing here?
That's a good one.
What are we seeing?
76.
17. 37 taxiing out.
Yeah. 76.
Sorry, is this supposed to be exciting?
It is.
I was expecting you guys to get more excited as we were talking. Okay.
India Day 38, it's exciting.
That's, yeah, exactly.
India Day 38, it's
That would be
exciting.
nice. That
That would be sweet. Look, the A350 would be exciting.
So, I haven't even talked about some of the other things here. I didn't get to it because so busy talking about airplanes. So this is a city of itself, as I said, 50,000 employees, 150,000 passengers a day, 200 fire responses a year. The Emirates is being towed over to the gate now. So it'll go around behind, it'll pass beside us. So the 777's rolling on the runway in the meantime. This is going to be a great shot. We stop right where we stop, right here. Can't open the doors because we got to We're going to be able to get the 2 planes. Right, and there's a 777 in behind as well. One just landed, one taken off. So the other things I didn't get to tell you about, with this being a big city, we also have to de-ice airplanes. Jason talked about clearing snow off the runways. We also have a team of 200 staff who are involved with de-icing. Now in the winter, they're full tilt, but in the summer, there's only a few of them. They're getting things ready, they're cleaning the tanks out, they're checking the equipment and doing some training and updating the manuals. And then when the new staff come on board in mid-September or so, they'll be all trained up. Because we have to be prepared to de-ice starting September 15th. Because we have got cold weather in September, and you don't want to suddenly have a whole fleet of aircraft grounded because they can't get de-ice. You see how the line is? Wow. I just want to give it. Yeah. throwing it away. Now, you want a story about that?
Yeah.
Okay, so think how expensive this is, right? This airplane's getting ready to go off to Dubai now. There's 497 passengers. And others are sitting buying wine in our shop, our restaurant, buying duty-free. All sorts of stuff going on. A couple of years ago, one of those exact situations happened. The plane pushes from here, and the tractor driver did something wrong and twisted the nose. So the plane got stuck here, couldn't go anywhere. Passengers were all there waiting for the flight. Still 2 hours to go. The pilot essentially, the flight got canceled. The aircraft wasn't able to operate. So Emirates now had to find hotel rooms or flights for all the people. So they might have gotten 2 or 3 of their first class passengers on the Air Canada London flight a few hours later. That's about it. There's just no way logistically you're going to get all those people on something. So instead they now have to find hotel rooms near the airport for all those people. The crew can all go back down to the Royal York because they'll just take up up to 34 hotel rooms for the night. Wow. Then they had a flight that was flying from Dubai to New York. It was going to land in New York at 10 in the morning the next day. So, no, it was an A380. So, what they did was they had 2 A380s a day in New York. So, the one that landed at 10:30 the next morning gets canceled on the return, flies into Toronto empty. So they can take all those people that have been put up for the night in Toronto and send them off to Dubai. So they're only 12 hours behind schedule. The people who got canceled out of New York, they've got the whole day to rebook those people, and they also had 12 hours notice to do it. Keep looking up, so I figured there must be something to see. Right. So I'm going to keep telling the story in a second as we head back now, but in the last